Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. I'm running for Commander-in-Chief here in Abbotsford. Today, before I get in my podcast, I want to just touch on something. Did you see the pathetic stuff of Colin Watts trying to pull up the Abbotsford police within our community, knowing that it can no longer hold its job of policing our town? He stood all alone on the stage, humiliated and ripped to pieces. Instead of Kelly Green flying to Ottawa with the chief and Ross Siemens, who should have been there on the #1 crisis, is the police chief, and he wasn't there. The rocks were more important in the federal money than the massive extortion ring and everything else. He looked like a joke, and he should have called it out. Then Colin Watts also took resources that should have went into helping crime for art. Remember that. Today I'm here in Barrowtown. I'm Barrowtown here in Abbotsford. I want to show you, a few weeks ago, I showed you about the sandbags. They were hauled in here, and the sandbags were used for flood mitigation. They're used for flood mitigation. All around the world they're used. But city councils and Ross Siemens, his collaborating team, decided that they're going to probably now lobby to the federal government to ban sandbags, because sandbags don't work. So let me tell you how you rip something off, how you double dip, and how you get away with it. First, Ross Siemens was a collaborating team of Abbotsford First. This is why Henry Braun, the mayor, who knew he was in trouble, had to load Ross with rigging the Chamber of Commerce, blocking advertising, everything. Thanks to the Mission RCMP, I can show you everything, and I am going to. Ross knew, and Henry knew, having that whole council of Ross and his friends, they would pass anything, no matter what it was, even though it was gouging the taxpayers. And nobody would ever question them because we're in charge. We're just going to gouge. So they brought the sandbags in here that should have never been touched. Then they hauled the sandbags out, which they made profit off of it. Then they hauled gravel in here to replace the sandbags. Then they hauled gravel out, burning up taxpayers' money at the provincial level. Then they decided to haul all that out, and they were going to bring these lock blocks in. Then they're going to bring these meteors. Where? What was done on Boundary Road by the Sumas border? Nothing. And then they were going to gouge. So on Friday, let me explain what happened to this company, Jake's, that's been in my town ripping it off. As your Commander-in-Chief, I'm going to go after that. I'm going to make this all available on the gravel, what was tugged in, how much millions of dollars were stolen on the gravel, how much was inflated on the sandbags, and how much is done on the lock blocks. And I'm going to go after assets as your Commander-in-Chief to get it back into my town and get it back into my city. So I would tell Jakes, I'd be tighten up that little sphincter muscle and I'd be aware of what's coming. It's absolutely fraud. And the problem here in Abbotsford is, under the establishment, they figured nobody was going to figure it out. Nobody was smart enough till Darren Brown, Henry's son, the economic development officer, showed the embezzlement, the fraud, the lifting, the gouging, the control of Abbotsford police that were going to run your mouth if you ran your mouth off and said they were going to beat you. The Abbotsford police are a fucking joke, and let me make that clear, threatening residents. Colin Watts stood there all by himself. Nobody dared to help him. Naked as a jaybird, you might say, dumbfounded, gagging, grasping on words. No political politicians, no police forces or RCMP or nobody. Just begging about his company and his poor man, his man that picked up prostitutes, his man that did garbage. Me and my team, always about him and his bloody team. I told him then and I'll tell you now. Abbotsford residents, Mr. Pelican, after the full weight of the law on his officers and everything. On Friday, Jake's Contracting mismanaged garbage. If you may, we'll walk this way. This mismanaged garbage was working here. No flaggers, no spotters, nobody. Rushing and rushing and rushing and rushing. And the dump trucks, if you shoot over there, if we look there, you can see behind me, the dump trucks hit it on the hook, this line, ripped it all down, and now they have left it, didn't grind it up and put it there. And the neighbors and everybody's worried about the people that recycle this for copper and aluminum, cutting it, and if they're alive, they'll pull on them and everything else. This is the mismanage of this Jake's Contract. They fled and they left. and the fire department and everything was out here. Because it was deemed done in the name of fraud. Hurry up, let's get it in there. If we get it all in here, we can get it done, we can steal the money, and then it's too hard to get it back. We got to go before our Supreme Courts. We got to go before the general public. So all this gets rebacked and placed back. Because I'm going to tell you right now, these bloody rocks and this shit with Jake's contracting and this garbage and mismanaging, this was supposed to be a professional team, hooking the lines and everything. Putting residents in harm's way, no flaggers, no nothing. We're gonna have an investigation. Ross fled out of the city, didn't know what to do. Versus little kids that were put in mold, farmers that lost their cows, devastation. And you're gonna tell me this shit was number one. So again, why the heck did Kelly Green get on a plane and go beg for money for Henry Braun, for the establishment and his friends, and not Colin Watts sitting in Ottawa saying, with the crisis in Abbotsford, we're asking Mr. Speaker to send the RCMP in. He couldn't do it because Colin Watts thinks that he's important and not this town. Him and his guys are important and their threats have gone too far, and he realizes the general public ain't helping him. His crybabying stuff was about the general public. He lost control of having the public with him and everybody could see. So people went and said, why did he do that video? Because I pushed that Abbotsford needs the RCMP and must have it. Because Henry Braun was owning the Abbotsford City. The train tycoon was doing stuff that was unbelievable behind everybody's back. Even this pathetic company that stood here with no flaggers and no spotters on dump trucks, and I've worked for big developers, I told you, Peter Wall, Wall Financial, Aquilini, Stuart Olson, the World Olympics, and I told you Devon Oil and everything. You don't do this childish garbage. When I talked to Jake's foreman here yesterday, he was laughing and giggling. I said, so what are you guys making? Oh, we're making lots. This stuff, we're just making hands over fist money. This is the gold mine. And the guy telling me proudly to my face like this, not knowing that I'm running for your commander-in-chief. And every dollar that was embezzled here under financial audits, we're going to get it back. And we're going to put it back into the city. And if it's David Eby's money, we're going to send it back to David Eby. And we're going to take Jake's for a ride. And we're going to find out why Abbotsford First and Ross Siemens were doing this. I'm live, Barreltown Waterworks, Abbotsford, BC.